If you were like me making chicken cutlets tonight, by the time you flipped the second cutlet, they were down 8-0 in this game.
It was so quick.
It was so quick. It was so pathetic. They're a bad baseball team right now.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. With me, as usual, my co-host, Brian McKeon. Brian.
Stacey, unfortunately, no matter how you frame it, a loss is still a loss.
Yeah. Before we get started, don't forget, subscribe to Locked On Yankees on whichever podcasting platform you prefer. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube. We surpassed 9,000 subscribers overnight Wednesday, and then we surpassed 9,050 in the afternoon. So thank you all to the new people who are here. Welcome. Hope you enjoy the Yankee slide with us, because I'm sure that's why you're all here. But thank you for subscribing. You can like our videos, watch our videos, and hit the bell so you know when they're live. And we have a TikTok page. If you're there, you can follow us at LockedOn_Yankees. On today's show, we're going to preview the finale in Toronto, which we hope won't turn into a 4-game sweep. But with the way this series is going, it probably will. Jazz Chisholm Jr. is a second baseman. So why the heck is he playing third again? We're going to discuss that. But first, let's play a game of what would you rather? Or would you rather? Would you rather the Yankees have just given up, gone down 8-0, and not shown any fight, or do what they did where they come all the way back, you get very excited, and in the very next inning, cough up a lead?
And Stacey, I'll be honest with you, it doesn't matter to me that they came back and showed some fight and wound up making this a tie game. But aside Aaron Judge's mammoth home run and everything positive that happened during the comeback, it's still a loss in the loss column. It still counts as another game in the loss column. And now the Blue Jays are tied with them for the lead in the division. The Rays are only a game back. So it's still a loss. And you know what? You still went down 8-0 to start the game. If you were like me making chicken cutlets tonight, by the time you flipped the second cutlet, they were down 8-0 in this game.
It was so quick.
It was so quick. It was so pathetic. They're a bad baseball team right now. They are. I'm sorry. That's it.
And it's annoying too, because they're not this bad. They're not as good as they were in April and May, but they're not this bad. But this is what we say about them every single season, because they start off really hot, then they go down. It's like they're on a giga coaster. They go up 300 feet and then they drop straight down 300 feet. And they had a 7-game lead on May 28th. We showed you guys the standings the other day. And now the lead is gone. Now, that's not as bad as Seattle coughing up the lead to Houston last year in like 2 weeks, but still in a month, you lost a 7-game division lead where things were looking good. The month of June, and we're already 2 days into July. Awful.
Yeah, they're not a good baseball team. I won't leave the late part of this game on Devin Williams. It's not a blown save for Devin Williams, it wasn't a save opportunity anyway, but this isn't a blown opportunity for Devin Williams. I think he was fine, actually. To be quite honest with you, that pass ball is on Ben Rice. That's basic catching fundamentals. You can't pick at that ball. You know the ball in the dirt's coming there. That's what you called for, or it's what Devin Williams called for. And catching one-on-one is getting your chest in front of that ball. And I don't care if Ben Rice is a guy who doesn't catch a lot or not a full-time catcher. Every catcher from the high school level on knows that. That's a ball you get your chest in front of and you smother. It's not a ball you pick out with your glove. So, awful job out of Ben Rice. I know he doesn't play catcher every day. Still is a problem, Stacey. Still has to make that play. That's how bad teams lose games. They're not focused. And that's another example of not having any focus. You're not focused. You're not thinking that way. You're not thinking fundamentally. And you make a poor decision right there and you lose the game.
And that stinks because Ben Rice had a great game offensively and he was in the middle of a lot of that scoring. And for it to go sideways because of that is a big bummer. I knew the game was starting, but then I forgot about the game. And at 7:35, I was like, oh man, I got to put the game on. And they were down 7-0. And I thought, really? Are you kidding? So I had a back and forth with a bunch of the insiders, and we were going like, oh, this is horrible. I said I didn't want to have to yell at them on the show again. I wasn't in the mood to rant about then. They make it 8-6, and I'm thinking, oh, all right, well, there's enough time for them to come back if they keep them in 8. And it was just, as soon as Judge hit that game-tying home run, my first thought was, you can't keep it tied. Because if you keep it tied, you're going to lose. Because we know this about them. Like, if they don't pull ahead, they're not going to win. Not in this funk that they've been playing in for the past month. It's just...
No, and then the home run was great. But if I don't know as a Yankee fan how you're going to take this, because, I mean, again, it's such a sour taste in your mouth kind of game, because they have this great comeback and they show this resiliency, and you think, oh, well, maybe there's something a little bit turning here if you win that game. But you lost it anyway. And, I say it in our Locked On Yankees shorts that we do every single day, Stacey. It's still a loss in the loss column. They could have lost this game 21-0, and it could have got completely out of the hand. They could have lost 1-0, or they could have lost 11-9 like they did. It's still a loss in the loss column. It counts the exact same at the end of 9 innings. So it doesn't really matter to me that they came back. It's great and it's resilience, sure. But at the end of the day, they made a lot of the same mistakes they've been making all year. Awful fielding mistakes, not being focused, bad base running, and that's what wound up happening in this game. I want to bring this up too before we get into, because definitely some damning things that happened in a press conference with Jazz Chisholm, or I guess a questioning with Jazz Chisholm, that we'll get to in the second segment. But we've talked about it a lot, and I'm sure we're going to get questions on it for Fan Mail Friday tomorrow, and we're going to keep talking about it a lot this year. Anthony Volpe's a problem. He is. I know he's young, and I definitely attest to it, and I agree to that. But at a certain point, Stacey, I mean, he's got to sit for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because he's a bad baseball player right now. He's hitting .222 now. He's genuinely playing awful. And in this game, he had a huge opportunity late in this game with 2 guys on and grounds out into a weak double play.
Did anyone else see that coming? Because I did.
Yeah, I mean,
as soon as I saw the situation, I thought, oh, he's going to hit into a double play. And I kind of...
And we talk about hitting being contagious, Stacey. Not for him. Because they were hitting in this game. They were hitting in this game, and it should have been contagious, but it was not for him in this spot.
He did. I didn't mean to put a thumbs up on the screen. That's just a setting on my camera. I apologize. I mean, he did at least contribute. But yes, he comes up with that big situation, and just... I say it all the time. When you watch this team enough, you know patterns, you know how things are going to happen, unless it's just my addled brain, which it could be, because I see patterns coming and I can tell when things are going to happen. And I just knew it. I also knew Stanton was hitting a home run in that at bat as well. When they were down 8-3, I felt it in my bones. I was like, oh, I'm like, he's due. He is due at this point. So I was like, he has to hit this home run. So it's just annoying that they, you're thinking to yourself, okay, maybe they can turn this around. Judge hits that big home run. It's really exciting. It's like, okay, it's a whole new game. Now it's like 0-0 at this point. So just hold them and try and score again. And no.
Volpe's now 7 for his last 58 in this stretch going on. He also leads the American League in errors.
Oof. That's
a major problem for a young player. And again, I know that we think he's got a solid career ahead of him and he's in a rut right now, but this is a really bad rut that he's in. This can't continue. They need to just sit him for a day just to get his mind right. And I don't even think a day. I think he needs to sit for a couple of days.
I'll say it again. He should have had more time in AAA. He wasn't there long at all.
Yeah, and it goes back to, we don't have the clip to play, but it's been circulating all over social media. I'm sure you'll find it. And I'm sure you've seen it if you're all over social media. There's a clip from 2 spring trainings ago where Joel Sherman is pressing Brian Cashman and basically saying, Volpe's going to be playing full time, and Volpe hasn't been successful, and Volpe's not hitting over 300, and Volpe's this, Volpe that. And Brian Cashman cuts him off and is very testy with him, where he basically says, well, Volpe didn't get a full career in spring training and in AAA, and watch what Volpe does this year. And Joel Sherman goes back at Brian Cashman and says, well, you keep telling me to watch what happens this year, but what if he doesn't hit this year? And Brian Cashman is sure as anyone could ever be sure. Well, we'll see what you have to say when Volpe slugs this year. We'll see it say when Volpe's great this year.
That wasn't spring training. It was actually the GM meetings in 2023.
Yeah, okay.
So it was
the
after
offseason.
It was after Volpe's first full season with the Yankees. Yeah.
And since that press conference, or since not even, it was a group.
It was like a scrum. It was like a scrum outside the hotel. Yeah.
Since that scrum,
he was testy that day.
Anthony Volpe is hitting 225 since that scrum.
Actually, we had a whole show about that because we were just like, what is Cashman doing?
Admittedly, it was a weird interview.
It really
was a very
was
weird interview.
He was very defensive, and
but Sherman pressed him. He really pressed him on that.
But I understand it was, the Yankees missed the playoffs. They didn't make the playoffs in 2023. He had all this pressure to do something. This was before they got Soto because it was early November. And that pressure from them missing the playoffs is why they got Soto and traded away half the team for Soto, and why they picked up Alex Verdugo. By the way, Alex Verdugo DFA'd. Wow. So you can DFA Alex Verdugo when he's not playing well.
It is funny though, what the Yankees analytics were telling them last year, because last year, for analytical reasons, and let's keep in mind the Braves are a very analytical team, but last year, for analytical reasons, Alex Verdugo was playing in the World Series and starting World Series games over Jason Dominguez. And yet, less than a year later, he's DFA'd by the Atlanta Braves.
And Jason Dominguez is contributing to the Yankees.
Someone's analytics are off.
Yeah.
And then it seems like it's the Yankees.
Yeah. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notification so you know when our videos go up. You can also join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. The link is down below in the description. You'll get texts from us. You can text us questions, comments, reactions to trades and signings, reactions to the game. We were going all night. It was actually a lot of fun, but also not fun when things went south. We send out the lineups during the season, roster moves, and breaking news so you don't have to check social media. There's a 14-day free trial. Coming up, Jazz Chisholm Jr. is a second baseman. So why is he playing third base? We're going to discuss some things that he said next.
We've all been there, logging on early and waiting forever for the concert tickets to go on sale, only to lose your spot for a show you've been dying to see. Live music should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping, and that's where Gametime comes in. Gametime makes getting concert tickets faster and easier than ever. Prices actually drop as it gets closer to showtime, and you can save up to 60% off with their killer last-minute deals. And with Gametime, the price you see is always the price you pay. There's none of those annoying hidden fees. And if you're worried about what happens if plans change, the Gametime guarantee has your back with cancellation protection and more. Take the guesswork out of buying concert tickets and show tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app today, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
So tomorrow's Fan Mail Friday. And if you're a YouTube viewer and you're not an insider, we have a way for you to leave questions rather easily. Go to our channels page, you click on posts, and you'll see the latest post where I tell you to leave your Fan Mail Friday questions. Very easy for you to do. And the deadline is Thursday at 5 p.m., otherwise known as later today.
So I don't know if you guys saw this, because I did, and it really bothered me, but when Jazz Chisholm spoke to the media, specifically Chris Kirschner, after Tuesday's game, it became very obvious that Jazz was training to play second base all year, was getting ready to play second base all year, particularly in the wintertime, was told that he was going to play second base all year, and has since played third base throughout the entire year. The Yankees really botched this one up, and having a player prepare to play a certain position, especially a player with the Gold Glove ability of Jazz Chisholm, to then take that position away from him because DJ LeMahieu is a major priority to this organization, is a really, really, really bad sign. And that's apparently exactly what the Yankees did with Jazz Chisholm Jr.
Yeah, the thing I didn't like about this, I will say this, is when the quote came out from Chris Kirschner on X. Jazz Chisholm Jr. says, everybody knows I'm a second baseman. So why is he playing third base? And of course, there's more to the quote. So it's not just Jazz complaining that I'm a second baseman. Why am I playing third base? It's not like that at all. I understand clickbait. We're guilty of it sometimes with some of our titles here as well, because you have to get eyes on your article and your show. But I didn't like that implication because Jazz has been nothing but a company guy since he got here. and I didn't like that almost implication of him saying something out of turn when he really didn't do that.
At the same time, he is correct, though.
Oh, yeah.
It could be that he didn't mean for it to be out of turn or anything like that, but he's right on that quote. He is a second baseman. That is his best position. That's where he should be playing.
Yeah.
Instead, you're sacrificing this to have DJ LeMahieu playing second base every day. He's hitting 254. He's got a 664 OPS. He's not terrible,
right?
But he's not great either.
Right.
He's just very met. And honestly, he can't move very well at second base. So the double play combination is not an automatic when it's hit ground ball at second base.
I'm glad you brought that up because, as you said, the Yankees told Jazz, you're going to play second. Him and Volpe practiced all spring training, even on the side fields, doing drills from their knees and throwing to each other and picking up balls and practicing double plays at second base on the field outside of Steinbrenner Field, like one of the other fields. Mm-hmm. And it's ridiculous that they had him do all this. And within 2 to 3 weeks, he was already playing second base. And then they were preparing for DJ to come back. It's like,
and they told him following the season that he was going to be playing second base all year so he could work on it throughout the entire winter, which is what he did. So he spent,
but I mean, that's his position anyway. He was playing second base.
But he spent all of November, December, January, February training extra at second base when you got rid of that because you basically told him it was not necessary 2 weeks into the season that he's going to play third base full time. It's not the way to handle the situation. They completely, utterly botched this. That coupled with the report that the Yankees were apparently planning on DFAing DJ LeMahieu at the end of last year, and Aaron Judge put an axe to it. I don't know the validity on that completely, but it is. There's a lot of places that are reporting it, and it seems to be a pretty accurate report. If that's the case, Stacey, that's a major problem too.
I didn't even see that.
Aaron Judge is the captain of this team and one of the best hitters in a generation. He's not the general manager.
No.
He may like DJ LeMahieu, and that's fine.
But we mentioned it already. Alex Verdugo had no business being on the Yankees for the entire season last year. He had no business starting playoff games, and it was because of Aaron Judge that he did.
And I know Aaron Judge wants to believe in his teammates and wants to believe in guys that are going to pick it up, but he's believing in guys that are his buddies that aren't contributing to the team. It's one thing to be mad if the team goes in a different direction and likes the player, and the player is a productive player, but they want to change up the roster a little bit and move that player. That's one thing. The guys that he's supporting to keep on this roster are nothings in the lineup. Alex Verdugo was hitting like 210, and DJ LeMahieu has been a nothing. Can't move in the field, isn't a great hitter anymore. I get wanting to defend these guys and being everyone's best friend, but you also want to win a World Series here. And this has become a major problem now. You have Jazz Chisholm playing. It's not out of position at third base, but it's not where he's most comfortable. And again, you had him train the entire offseason to play a position that he's currently not playing. There are a lot of reports out there that the Yankees are apparently going to be in on a third baseman majorly at the deadline. But I want you all to think, especially to our loyal listeners that are listening every day, I want you to think back to an episode we had about 3 weeks ago where we talked about what the Yankees' top priorities are going to be going into the trade deadline when they were playing a lot better. And we basically said they're going to need a middle relief arm, and they're going to need some kind of everyday to bench positional player. Someone that can play every day, but really is a bench player that's going to play, that's going to, be able to plug in third base, second base, outfield, something like that. Well, now you fast forward to 3 weeks from that episode. They need a major bullpen arm because they've burnt their bullpen out completely. And they need a legitimate starting infielder, either a third baseman or a second baseman. They don't need a replacement guy, a bench guy, a here and there guy. They need an everyday third baseman. And I want to bring you back to the summertime, Stacey, before we move on. They had legitimate opportunities to get Nolan Arenado. Mm-hmm. And we said going into the season, this gets a little dangerous if you go into the season. Now, maybe there's the possibility that the Cardinals play terrible, fall out of it, and they're desperate to get rid of him for something, and they trade him for nothing. There's also the possibility that Arenado has a really good year, and the Cardinals play above expectations, and they decide, we like you around here, we're not going to move you anymore. And that's exactly what's happened. The Cardinals are having a really good year. Arenado's playing well. They're not interested in moving him anymore. You screwed yourself out of getting a player that's actually playing well this year. They've messed things up a lot, and I've got a bad feeling that this is just a mediocre team. What you're watching on the field is a little bit worse than what they actually are.
I think right now it's a lot of bit worse.
No, I think they're
a lot of it worse.
I think they're a 500 baseball team. I think they're an 85 win team, honestly. And this is slightly worse than they really are. They're playing poorly right now. They're not this bad, but just like in April, they weren't that good. I think it's just a poorly constructed team that's also managed poorly. That the bullpen is exhausted. The starters don't go long enough. The lineup is inconsistent every single day. It's not even bad enough that you have guys going from the 1 to the 9 hole every day. What's really bad, Stacey, is you have guys changing positions by the day. Yeah. Ben Rice is going from DH to catcher to first base. Cody Bellinger is going from center field to right field to first base. Baseball players are creatures. Baseball players are creatures of habit that need to play every single day and need to be in a rhythm.
Yeah, this isn't a softball team. You're not going to be like playing different positions. It's not a beer league team.
And that's how it's being managed. It's so poorly being done right now.
Yeah.
They're a bad baseball team right now. Case in point.
Yep. Coming up, previewing the finale of the series north of the border. That's right. We have to sit through a 4th game with the Blue Jays. Will the Yankees be completely out of first place when it's over? Who knows? And we're also going to take a look around the league next.
Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. And whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order all of your products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with the complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need, delivered fast, from coast to coast. And if you need help with an order, Supply House offers expert support at industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for the trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free TradeMaster program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts available on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage, and now it's your turn. Join the TradeMaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, you can use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. And guys, good news. Not only do we cover your team every day, but we're also giving you instant episodes after every single game. Check out the Locked On Yankees postcast. It's hosted by Jay Berman right here on the Locked On Yankees podcast feed, as well as streaming on our YouTube channel. Get rapid reaction to all the biggest moments with the Locked On Yankees postcast. Stacey, they go into game 4 against the Blue Jays in Toronto, north of the border. It'll be a 7.07 start. Clarke Schmidt is 4-4 with a 3.09 ERA. He's been excellent as of late. He'll get Chris Bassitt, who's 7-4 with a 4.29 ERA.
It's right in that spot.
Yep, be the stopgap if you can, but it's right in the Yankees' kryptonite.
Because they were able to get to Barrios with his 3.26 ERA, like I said on yesterday's show. So I don't know. This team is just confounding. Just don't get swept. For the love of God, don't get swept in a 4-game series. I know it's possible. They might just walk into today's game just like, can we get out of here? Yep. And they're not even really going home. I mean, they're going home to their houses, but they're not going home to Yankee Stadium because they'll be playing the Mets this coming weekend. So
yeah. And speaking of the Mets, Chris Bassitt, who they'll face tomorrow, former Met, signed with the Blue Jays after leaving the Mets. Mets split their doubleheader with the Brewers earlier yesterday, so we'll see how the Mets go into this series. They're also playing terrible baseball as well, so really not a great time for the Subway Series to get going.
Speaking of yesterday, 19 games because there were so many rainouts on Tuesday that there were a bunch of doubleheaders, so there were 19 games being played.
The weather is terrible, and the rain makes the humidity worse. I mean, it is not a good start weather-wise off to the summer so far.
I think people should have probably listened to the climate scientists 30 years ago who predicted stuff like this was going to happen, and every stadium built after a certain point should have a roof no matter where they are. Yeah, retractable roof, obviously. Like if it's sunny out, keep it open. But I think both stadiums in New York should have had retractable roofs. That was roofs. Is that the plural of roof? That was silly. So maybe in another 15 years when they build new ones, they can put a roof on them.
Yeah, not counting on it. News from around the league, which has become my favorite segment of the show because we don't necessarily have to be talking about the Yankees, and that's always a good thing.
Oh, we're going to talk about them in this first one.
Yep, here we go. Gleyber Torres made the All-Star team as the starting second baseman. Good work, guys. Good work.
Wow, a second baseman. Interesting. Very interesting. It's amazing to me how awfully they treated Gleyber Torres, he really, like, sure, he had some mental lapses. There were some things going on with him, but he was a good guy. He was a solid hitter. He really picked things up in the second half of 2024, contributed in a big way in 2024 toward the end. And they just let him go. And now he is living his best life in Detroit. First time he's a starter, right, in the All-Star game. So good for him. I'm glad that he's doing really well. Detroit's doing really well. And good job, Cashman. Great.
Yeah, not great work here. The star prospect Anthony Volpe is hitting way worse than Gleyber ever did, because even when Gleyber's average dipped like this, Gleyber still gave you the power element. Volpe's not doing that. Yeah. So really bad. It's looking like a really bad job letting Gleyber Torres walk for absolutely nothing. Really bad job. Yep. Spencer Schwellenbach for the Atlanta Braves. He has a fractured pitching elbow, which sounds awful. Ooh. He's 7-3 with a 3.09 ERA. He's been their ace this year by far. And this is also, Stacey, a week after Chris Sale went out with the fractured small rib. Remember that one?
Oh yeah.
It's starting to feel like a lost season for the Braves at this point. Injuries have just gotten the best of them. They've gotten just outnumbered by injuries at this point. Yeah. Sad to see. The talent's obviously there, but they can't avoid the injury bug. It's crazy. Other news, the Houston Astros, Yordan Alvarez is being sent to a hand specialist now. Stacey, he's been out for over 2 months. They tried to get him on a rehab assignment earlier this week and wound up feeling more pain in that same hand, and now he's going to go to a specialist. So that is a really, really tough injury for the Astros, and to have him out for as long as he's been, really a terrible setback.
Yeah, but it's not tough for them at all. They're doing very well right now without him, because they're
figuring it out. But he's a huge part of that lineup. I don't understand how their pitching is held up. They seem to lose pitchers every year now, and it still holds up. They've done a really good job, I got to be honest, over the years of just being able to draft and keep themselves young and talented, because they're playing unbelievably well right now. And
it's because
I think everybody thought they'd have a down year.
It's because they barely got punished for what they did, and they were allowed to keep going and persevere, and they saw no repercussions. I don't care about people getting suspended. I don't care about people in the front office getting suspended. It did absolutely nothing to hurt this team. Oh no, they didn't make it to an ALCS for the first time in like 15 years. Oh wow, that's so terrible for them.
No, Stacey, they also had $1 million fine.
Oh please.
Bob Melvin of the Giants had his option picked up for 2026. Weird to see an option picked up in the middle of the previous season, but I guess they didn't want him going in as a lame duck for the rest of the year. So, I mean, good for Bob Melvin, one of the older managers in the league, but keeping his job on a very analytical organization, not something you expect to see, but he'll get another year of Rafi Devers, a full season and full spring training with him. So good for Bob Melvin. Happy for him. Yeah. Shohei Ohtani last night against the White Sox hit his 30th home run of the season. That ties a Dodger record before the All-Star break. And then one of the wackier stories I think I've seen all year. Did you see this fan at the Diamondbacks game? Were you
my brother sent me the TikTok.
So this guy at the Diamondbacks game, his name is Dave McCaskill. He's a season ticket holder at Diamondbacks, and he winds up involving himself in plays constantly. Apparently, this is the 10th play that he has involved himself in where he affects the ball in play. Not just the ball that he catches, where he deliberately affects the ball in play, including 2 nights ago where there was a ball that was hit deep in the game. He reached over the wall to catch it and pulled it into the home run territory, went up not being a home run. It's the 3rd time that he's been ejected from a game, the 10th time that he's affected a ball in play. And now the Diamondbacks responded by banning him from Chase Field. So he's no longer allowed to go to Diamondbacks games, even though he's a season ticket holder. Justifiable punishment or no?
Yes, you can't keep interfering with balls in play.
Yeah, clearly now it's intentional. Like, yes. This is not an accident anymore.
That's ridiculous. No, it's ridiculous. After the 2nd or 3rd time, he should have been banned. That's ludicrous.
Yeah. So crazy story, but I can't believe this guy's out there. Clearly he's intentionally doing this, and it's just so funny though. Like, affecting balls in play. But what are you doing when the Diamondbacks are the team that's at the plate? You're hurting your own team. You're hurting your own team. Like, I don't know. Is that fun? Like, I get doing it when it's the opposing team, but the Diamondbacks are hitting the ball and you're pulling the ball. Like, why are you doing that? Makes no sense.
I have one quick thing to say before we end the show. Dear Jeff Passan, I will complain all I want about the Yankees, okay? I don't care that the Yankees have won 27 World Series. I don't care that the Yankees are always in the running to make the playoffs and that we're lucky that we watch a team that tries every year. We have every right to bitch and complain and bitch and moan about our manager and about our general manager. So don't tell us to shut the F up. We have every right to complain. He was on a podcast, on Max Manus's podcast, and he said we don't have a right to complain because we're Yankee fans. And I'd just like to say, yes, we do. Every team's fans have a right to complain about something having to do with their team. It doesn't matter. Dodgers fans could even complain about their team if they want to. It's their prerogative.
There's not much to complain about, but sure.
Right. It, like Bobby Brown said in 1988, it's my prerogative if I want to get mad at the Yankees and complain. Okay. Thank you. It's how I make a living.
Heard it here first.
Yeah, it's how I make a living. I complain about the Yankees daily now because they don't know how to play anymore. Unbelievable. Awful. So thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. You get local analysis on a national scale. You can find MLB Game Night on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And once again, thank you for making us hit 9,000 subscribers. So now the count to 10K is on.
I'm ready for it. I got a fancy dinner planned for myself as soon as we hit it. So
yeah, ideally we would love to hit 10K before the end of the season, but we know that's kind of difficult to do. So maybe by New Year's Eve, maybe before 2026, we can hit 10K. And who knows?
I'm rooting for the end of the season.
I know, I'm rooting for that too. But hey, if the Yankees keep sliding, maybe we will, because it seems the worse the Yankees do, the better we do on the show. So
love it.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, we do. But
Catch-22.
Yes.
Catch-22. Rock in a hard place.
As fans who do a podcast, it's great that we get more eyes on our show, but it's bad for us mentally as fans to sit through games that we sit through watching this team. Does that make sense to everyone? I think that makes sense. So that'll do it for this edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll catch you guys tomorrow.